What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are basically going to continue our coverage over the Reign of X era of X-Men comics, and we actually pick up with Excalibur number 16. Now, with that being said, this is the book where basically we're trying to figure out what happened to Betsy Braddock? Because remember, in X Asaurus, we were left to believe that she had died in that event. But in Excalibur number 15, we came to find out that actually she did not die, she lived. But of course, she's somewhere else, possibly in the multiverse. But the question is, though, how will our heroes bring her back into the main Marvel universe? But of course, now other people are aware that Captain Britain is missing. Because remember, Betsy Braddock, at the end of Excalibur number 1, she became the new Captain Britain, which of course means she's bound to protect Great Britain. And of course, the country is wondering, where is their captain? And so right now, you have a lot of people wanting to know where is their captain. But on top of that, how can the Excalibur team bring back Betsy Braddock to the main Marvel universe? And so getting into today's book, we actually pick up with Peter Wisdom and also Ruben. I cannot pronounce Ruben's last name. I'm not going to try to. And so with that being said, when it comes to Peter Wisdom, you have to remember that he basically works for the secret government team of Great Britain. Now, of course, the reason why he's kind of important is because he is a mutant, meaning that he does have the ability to go to Krakoa and back. But on top of that, he does work very close with Excalibur, since Excalibur is technically a team that belongs to both Krakoa but also Great Britain as well. Now, when it comes to Ruben, you have to remember, Ruben was part of a group called the Coven of Acaba. And Acaba was originally the first bad guy of the Excalibur series, and they used to work for a villain known as Morgan Le Fay. But of course, when it comes to Ruben and his coven, they're always trying to remove Betsy Braddock as Captain Britain, because to them, they feel like a mutant should not have that role at all. That role belongs to somebody who's not a mutant, because again, they look at mutants as like demonic beings. And so with that being said, it's really Ruben questioning Peter, because he wants to know if Peter has seen Captain Britain. Because remember, in X Asaurus, we were left to believe that Betsy Braddock is dead. Now, we know she's not dead. We know that she's apparently trapped possibly somewhere in the multiverse. But the country of Great Britain, they have no idea what happened to their captain. And so now the question is, will the country find out what actually happened to their captain? Because if word gets out that she's possibly dead or possibly trapped in another universe, they're going to begin the process of trying to find a new Captain Britain. Now, on top of that, Ruben also has information about the fake Captain Britons. Because remember, before X Asaurus is a really messed up thing here, but Jamie Braddock, the brother of Betsy and Brian Braddock, has the ability to warp reality. And of course, he made 4 fake realities where in those 4 realities, a mutant became basically a Captain Britain. Now, each of those mutants are actually people who belong to an Excalibur team. So like Rogue, Gambit, Jubilee, and Richter. Now, with that being said, it's really Coven saying you now have false Captain Britons running around as well. What in the world is going on with Betsy Braddock and Krakoa? Peter, you should know, because 1, you work for the government of your country, but 2, because you should know because you have close connections with the mutants. Now, we actually do pick up with Betsy Braddock, and we know she's not dead. We actually know that she's trapped in an alternate universe. Now, when I say trapped, I don't mean like she's stuck there. I mean, she is stuck there. But when I say trapped, I really mean that when it comes to Betsy Braddock, when she came into this universe, she's trapped inside the body of this universe version of Betsy Braddock. So let me explain. It's kind of like if you basically travel to an alternate universe. Instead of there being two of you, there's only one of you because you're trapped inside the body of that universe, a version of you. And so right now, Betsy Braddock is basically trapped inside the body of this universe version of herself. Now, with that being said, in this universe, Betsy Braddock is actually the Queen of England, which is actually huge. On top of that, Peter Wisdom is actually the Prime Minister. Now, with all that being said, also in this universe, Betsy Braddock is dating Angel, but secretly. Oh my God, I had a hard time saying that, but in secrets. And the reason why, because when it comes to Betsy Braddock being the Queen of England, it will look very bad for her if she's dating or marrying someone who's from America. And so her and Angel basically have to date in secret. Now, with that being said, though, this is also Marvel kind of reminding us about the times where Betsy Braddock and Angel actually used to date in X-Men comics, especially when Betsy Braddock was kind of a way to help Angel control his archangel side. Now, with that being said, apparently off panel between the books, Angel and Betsy Braddock had already made a plan to kind of help her get back into the main Marvel universe. It begins with her going to the lighthouse. Because remember, when it comes to Excalibur teams, they all work out of the lighthouse that belongs to the Braddock family. And the lighthouse does have a lot of different connections that are actually important. And so this is Betsy Braddock hoping that if she goes to the lighthouse, she can basically find a way to get back home to the main Marvel universe. But she has to sneak away because in this universe, she's the Queen of England. And you do have Angel tell her, don't worry, I have someone here to help you. And that person is actually Kawanin. Now, this is huge because in the main Marvel universe, Kawanin and Betsy Braddock actually switched bodies back in the early 1990s. And for some strange reason, Marvel just never had their bodies switched back up until I want to say 2015, 2016, possibly 2018. But either way, though, it's Angel saying Kawanin is going to help you get away from your castle over to your lighthouse and hopefully back home to your main Marvel universe. Wisdom meet up with the rest of the Excalibur team back in the main Marvel universe, where right now you kind of have the Excalibur team just moving some of their things inside the lighthouse, but also to begin the process of hoping to find a way to bring Betsy Braddock back to the main Marvel universe. Now, you do have Peter Wisdom actually tell the Excalibur team the big problem, and that problem is that basically right now, Ruben, who we saw earlier in this video, and his Coven of Acaba are on their way over to the lighthouse. And the reason why, because they're trying to prove to the rest of Great Britain that their Captain Britain is no longer around, that she basically took the job and vanished. It's a way to kind of tarnish her name, to make her look bad in the eye of the public. And so right now you have Peter saying, we have to go to the lighthouse right now and basically hold back the Coven of Acaba, because if we don't right now, he is going to use the advantage of her not being around as a way to tarnish her name, to hopefully have her removed as Captain Britain, and hopefully have someone else in place of her as Captain Britain. On top of that, he was able to get intel about the fake Captain Britons that Jamie Braddock had made. Of course, we know those four, the version of Rogue, Gambit, Jubilee, and Richter in those other universes that Jamie made where they become Captain Britons. And so right now, it's Peter saying the Coven of Acaba is using a lot of intel that should not gotten out, but it did. And that intel and him going to your lighthouse is going to lead into more problems for Betsy Braddock and you guys as well. to Betsy Braddock in that universe version of Kawanin, because remember, Betsy Braddock is actually trapped in an alternate universe. Now, with that being said, you do have Betsy Braddock and Kawanin being able to actually sneak into this universe version of the lighthouse. Now, in this alternate universe, the lighthouse is not actually a lighthouse. It's actually a top secret government base. And so right now you have Betsy Braddock and Kawanin of this universe sneaking into this version of the lighthouse, quotation marks, this secret top government base. Now, while they're kind of sneaking around, you do have Betsy Braddock begin to ask a bunch of questions to kind of learn more about this universe and also the mutant race in this universe. But of course, Kawanin only gave her 3 answers to 3 questions, and those questions don't really give us a lot of details about this universe version of mutants, really. But either way, you do have Kawanin actually get Betsy Braddock into the center of the lighthouse. Now, when it comes to lighthouses across the multiverse, when it comes to the lighthouse that belongs to the Braddock family in the multiverse, every single lighthouse in each universe has a connection to Otherworld. And remember, Otherworld is basically this alternate dimension where it does have a connection to all different universes across the multiverse and all different dimensions across the multiverse as well. And so with that being said, the reason why Betsy Braddock and Kawanin broke into this top secret government base is because, yes, it's where the lighthouse should be yet, but of course it's a government base. But inside that government base, there's still a connection to Otherworld. And so Betsy Braddock is hoping if she touched that connection to Otherworld, that portal, it could basically lead her right back to the main Marvel universe, but she has to touch it. Now, of course, when they break inside and they're actually able to get her close to that portal, when she touches it, it begins the process of transporting her, but we have no idea if it's actually going to transport her back to the main Marvel universe. Now, back in the main Marvel universe, you do have the Excalibur team actually getting to the lighthouse, but now having to protect the lighthouse against the Coven of Acaba, because they came here to basically prove a point that Captain Britain has disappeared. She's not around at the moment, and that is huge. And so with that being said, you basically have the Excalibur team trying to fight against the Coven of Acaba. But this actually leads into our cliffhanger. And the reason why I say our cliffhanger is because while you have the two sides fighting against one another, that is the moment you actually do have something pop off, like some kind of magical but psychic explosion. And of course, at the end of that explosion, you actually have Betsy Braddock appear, and you have everyone stop in their tracks to say, "Oh my God, Betsy Braddock is back. This is huge. This is amazing. Coven of Acaba, you can leave because look, she's here now." But the question is though, is this actually Betsy Braddock? And you see what I mean as we get into our next video. With that being said, I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video. And if you do, please hit that like button down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.